All right, we're going to go with the 1 minute. Well, let's get started here. Hi, Jim Glenn here with Sunbelt Steel. I'm going to be interviewing Trisha Ruiz with TSA Processing today. I'm hosting the event with our sponsors. At the end of the show here, we'll have a little list of our sponsors here that we can, if you'd like to support them, I'd be happy to get you their information. We do educational sales training, lunch and learns, and in-person and virtual visits. So it's all available on our website to get set up and be active at any time. You can schedule one that's convenient for a time for you. So today, we're going to be discussing stainless steel finishes. We're going to cover a wide range of things from the different types of finishes, the way to polish, and some common problems. I'll be asking Trish to tell us all about that kind of stuff. So we'll be monitoring the chat. The chat's in the events. So please just feel free to type in your information, and we'll your questions, and we'll answer them as we go along, or at the end of the show. And if we don't get to them, we will go back through the thing and back through the feed and look at and see if we've answered it, and we will answer you in the feed if not. So please ask the questions. Let's see what else we got to cover. We're on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you're on right now, give us a little shout out from where you're logging in from. Love to, let's see. Let me see here. I've got some people running in on the LinkedIn. Let me grab the notification, so I've got the link to that. But anyway, with that, while this is going on, while I do that, let me introduce you to Trisha and have her tell us a little bit about herself. Hi, Trisha. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello. Hi, my name is Trish. I am the general manager at TSA Processing, both the Arlington, Texas location, as well as the Richmond, Indiana location. This is my 14th year here at TSA, and we are a toll processor. And what that means is that we don't make anything and we don't sell anything. We just make your stuff ready, or whatever customized that you want, whatever size that you want your coil cut to, we can do those sheets. My specific plants specialize in polishing and buffing stainless, aluminum, and red metals, your coppers and your brass, as well as cutting coils to length and polishing flat bar, pipe, square tubing, rectangular tubing. We kind of do all the things that nobody else wants to play with. They send it to TSA. We kind of have some unique things that we specialize in. Prior to TSA, I worked at Main Steel Polishing, and that was up until TSA Processing purchased this location in Arlington, Texas, of Main Steel. So I always tell everybody that I came with the building. TSA has been more than a job for me. It's not just a career; it's my family now. I'm 100% serious. It's wonderful to be a woman in this industry and to be appreciated and respected at the level that I am from my superiors. I've never had that in any other workplace. So kudos to them. We have 6 locations now across the country, and each plant specializes in different specialties and different capabilities. If you have any questions about any of that, you can feel free to contact me after we're finished here, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And that's me.
Trisha, that sounds great. Appreciate that introduction. So let's just kind of get started here. We got kind of a little outline, but let me ask you a question. Would you do a favor and tell me a little bit about what finishes there are? I'm kind of unclear with all the numbers and 2Bs and 4s and stuff like that. So you can just run through them and tell us a little bit about them. I'd appreciate that.
I would be more than happy to. I'm going to try to show you a couple little samples too, and we'll see if they show up on the camera or not. So you've got your number 1, also known as your HRAP. It's going to be rough surface, no scale. Then you're going to have your 2B. It's going to be your most popular smooth surface, cold roll and meal pickled. You're going to go to your 2D, which is going to be very economical, but it's dark, dull gray. It's used in a lot of roofing because it's not too reflective. And then from there, we're going to go over to the actual polished finishes. This is where my specialty comes in. So we have number 3 and number 4, which are considered a polish. So think about your stainless steel refrigerator. It has those lines in there, that grain. We did that, or a processor or somebody. That's the polish that I'm talking about. So that's the number 3, number 4 that I'm talking about. We texture the surface. So we kiss the material and put those lines in there. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to try to show you a number 3. Okay, so this is just a little sample, and it's got some protected on it that we'll talk about in a little bit. But this is a number 3. So a number 3 is going to be it. And I'm just going to kind of move it around to see it. So hopefully the light will hit it just right. You'll be able to see it. But you're looking for these lines that are in here. Okay. And so the number 3 is going to have a max RA of a 40. It's coarse and rough. It's tough. You can feel the texture when you're running your hand across it. It's got smaller, deep lines than a number 4. So the linear lines that are in that are smaller and deeper. And again, I'm just trying to hope that the light's going to hit it just right in one of the times that I'm holding it at. And then in contrast, the number 4 is a smoother finish. So it's not rough at all to the touch. And it's got a max RA of 25. It's the most common that we do. It's got longer parallel lines than a number 3 finish with less depth in the lines. And it's a 150 to a 320 grit. It's easier to clean. It is by far the most popular finish that we do. In person, you can really see these, and on camera, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to, but this is your number 3 and this is your number 4. Now, one thing to note that the average person, if they're not looking at these next to each other, likely won't know. This is your number 3 and this is your number. Oh, I'm hearing myself echo. I'm sorry. So the common person would not be able to tell the difference unless they're next to each other. And even then, when you're looking at them, it's hard to tell the difference. But when you touch them, you can definitely tell that there is a difference there. Anything after the number 4. So when I go to number 7 and matte, we're no longer talking about a polish. These are considered buffs. So polish is going to be an abrasive belt, has actually kissed the surface like sandpaper and put those lines in it. When we move to buff, a more highly reflective surface, it's done with cotton pads. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in just a little bit. But so if we're looking at matte finish and number 7, it's going to be like a mirror, but it's going to be pretty dull. So it's kind of smoky. Let me see what's the best way to do this. So if you look at the pen and the reflection, which maybe you can and maybe you can't. There you go. It's really dull. It's really dull. And this is a number 7, and this is the matte. And they are, you can kind of see, you can see Jim there. But they're a dull mirror finish. So it's done just like a number 8 directional, which I'm about to show you, but there's not as many passes, and it's meant to be more muted. I'm going to show you a directional number 8, and a directional number 8 it's a very impressive mirror, and it is what has been the standard in the industry for a very long time. And again, I'm going to use my trusty pen here, or try to. This is like the fun playing in a mirror house here. So you can see the reflection of it. It's pretty clear. It's a beautiful finish. There are ghost lines in it that are hard to see, but it makes it a little bit smoky. Kind of like if you could see your eyes in there, but you wouldn't be able to see the exact detail of your iris. But so this is going to be the directional number 8. It's standard in the industry forever. Now, and if you show this to your customer, they would love it. They would be great. It's what they want. Unless they saw the non-directional number 8. Now, the non-directional number 8 is so much. Yeah, look at Jim there.
Definitely is. Yeah.
I mean, it is a huge difference. So when you look at them side by side, you're no longer going to want the directional. You're going to want the non-directional. Problem with that is the non-directional is not as easy to get. So if you never show your customer this one and you show them this, they're going to be fine with this 9 times out of 10. Once they see this one, they're going to want it. Now, this one is, I only know 2 people in the country that do it, and both of them are backed up forever. Not forever, but for quite a while. This you can get done much easier, a directional number 8 than a non-directional. But again, the quality is just, I love our non-directional, but it is there's a wait. There's definitely a wait. So it's just something to think about. If you don't show them both, the directional number 8 likely will work for your customer. So I just wanted to give you that and put that side by side for that. And those are the samples that I have for the finishes.
Well, that's really a lot of different types of finishes and really great information. So one of the things that came to mind as I was watching you tell us about those different types of finishes is how do you get those different ways of finishes and what kind of products can you do that on?
So we have polishing can be done in either sheet or coil form. Here at my location, we only do it in sheet form, but other locations that we have can do it in coil form. There's wet polish lines that polish with oils. We have one of those in Atlanta. I've never actually seen that one. I'm a little jealous if they got it. And then we have dry polish, which is going to be just done with the big abrasive belts that we've talked about in different varying pressures. Also, what I haven't talked about is normally when you're getting something polished, there's a back pass. So never, ever sell your customer and say it's a two-sided finish. If it's just a good back pass, they will know. So a back pass is it's just gonna kiss the bottom of the surface as it's going through, but we're not physically checking to look at that to make sure there's no imperfections on the back of the sheet like we do the top. So a back pass will brush the back of it, but it's not going to be consistent. It's not going to be edge to edge perfect. It's not going to be like that. It's just a back pass. So just keep that in mind. And then there's buffing, abrasive, sandpaper for the polish. Buffing is going to be, think about like buffing your car. So when you're polishing, think stainless steel refrigerator with the lines in it. Buffing, you wouldn't put that sandpaper on your paint job. You're just not going to do it. But you're going to put some compound down, and then you're going to take a big, well, it won't be this big, but you're going to take a cotton wheel of some sort, and you're going to buff your car until it has a great reflective shine. Same thing here. So when we buff something, we roll a compound on there, and then we have a giant arbor that has about 200 of these, and it's soft cotton fibers that are going to roll like this, and that's what puts those lines in the directional number 8. So this is going to roll like this, and the arbor is going to oscillate like this to get edge to edge, to get it as uniform as possible. And this is the difference between the buff and the polish. They're two totally different processes, two totally different outcomes. And and I also wanted to talk about protection for a minute. If you're going to spend money and you're going to have something polished or buffed, or you order it BA and you get it cut to length, I encourage you to protect your investment. So these little samples that I've been holding up, what's right here that's protecting it is called PVC. Okay. It's plastic. Don't quote me on that, but we call it PVC.
Coating? Yeah.
So,
vinyl coating?
I'm sorry?
Something vinyl coating?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So this particular one is a Nitto laser that's on here. We've got Soprad laser, fiber optic. We've got Novacell fiber optic laser, all different kinds of PVCs. If you buy a cell phone, it's going to have a little piece of plastic on it that you're going to have to peel off. They're protecting you from getting scratches. That's PVC. Same thing with your metal. So not only will this protect it from getting scratched in it, all of that, but it's for your customer, for what we call the end user. What you need to know what they're doing with it, if at all possible. If they're going to be stamping it out, if they're going to have a deep draw to do a sink out of it, if they're going to be laser cutting it, fiber optic laser cutting it, if the PVC has to be able to withstand the process. So you have to know what it is they're going to be doing with it to know what to apply on it to protect it, so that there's no air bubbles that get up underneath it, or it doesn't blow out when they're doing the laser. So that information, it's so important to protect. People will have us polish something and then they'll say bare. If we polish something and you say that you want it bare, it's that important to us that we make you put in writing that you understand that we are no longer liable for the surface of the material, because we're going to put metal on top of metal and it's just going to scratch. You're going to get friction scratches, which will go little lines all the way across the width of your material. You don't want that. At the very least, you're going to put paper interleave. This is paper interleave. It's just cracked paper. So it's just a level of protection between the sheets. So you have this sheet of non-directional mirror, and you're gonna put paper on it, and then you'll put another sheet of non-directional. If you don't, those two pieces of metal are just gonna sit there and scratch on each other. While on a truck in shipment, the little vibration like that, you're like, oh, it's just going 5 miles. I promise you, it's not gonna be what it looked like after we got off of our machine, ever. So that's my 2 cents on protection. You can get one side, 2 sides, whatever you want, whatever your pleasure. These are whatever flavor you want, but I would suggest making sure that if you're going to polish or buff, protect it.
Now, one of the questions I have on that is I have a little bit of experience in the PVC coatings, and it goes back many years back before the laser tables were even they were first starting to come out. But you mentioned 4 different types of PVC coating. I think you ran right over them, but as a salesperson out there, when they're going to try to sell a customer, it's important that they get the right kind of PVC for the tables they're selling the product to. Is that correct?
100%. Now, and I understand that a lot of people, because we don't sell to end users. We only even process for end users. So we process for distributors that then sell to their customer, and sometimes it goes several on beyond that. So I understand that some people are going to have stock on their shelf that's already got one thing, and then the customer has to know that. But if it's a special project for a customer that you're having it cut to this size for, why not go ahead and find out what they're doing so that you protect it the correct way for them for their end use. They may not need laser. They may be using full sheet and clear or black and white or a transparent blue, or any of those might work for them, which is a much cheaper, and that will save everybody money. So if you want to, I would definitely take the time to find out what they're needing it for, so that you can get them the right product.
Gotcha. We covered RA. Did I get to that RA question?
No,
okay.
No, we have not covered RA, but we can.
Yeah, all right, good. I'd like to jump in there, but before we do, there's a question that came in from the YouTube channel here. A couple questions there. Can you see those questions? Kevin asks, consistency has always been a problem when a customer wants to match. How do you advise?
Consistency is actually what I was about to go over with RA. Okay. That is the most important part of RA. If it's not being recorded and it's not being tracked, then that is the biggest problem. If you have 5 sheets next to each other and they look completely different, then it's a problem. Now, if you get a number 3 finish from overseas, and then you get another one from somebody in California, and you get another one from us, they're not all going to match. They're not, especially if it's a rolled on finish versus done on a sheet line. They're gonna be different. Now there's a range that is supposed to be set. There's standards that are there that are meant to make sure for consistencies, and RA is 100% which should be checked on that, and that's the roughness average. So you have the average distance height of the peaks and valleys from a mean line, and it's measured with a profilometer. And it's important in one of the questions on my slide is, why is RA important in sheet products? And my answer is consistency, because that is the biggest complaint that people have, is that this sheet doesn't match this sheet. And if you're doing a large panel, they have to match. So if it's all coming from the same, if it's all coming from the same processor, that should match, but it's not necessarily going to match another processor, because you have no way of knowing what their measures are.
So that kind of answers Kevin's next question: is, are there any sanctioned standards? Are there any standards out there, any specifications that would give you some more consistency to that?
Now, there are loose standards. We have what we require for internally. Now, as far as like ASTM standards, I actually was reading this the other day. There's in fact, I'm going to suggest this to you and anybody that's listening. There are 2 books out there that I think should be on everybody in this industry's desk, at least one in the office, and every new sales rep should have access to it. And this is by, I don't know if y'all are all familiar with the company Zahner, but William Zahner wrote several books, and I have 2 of them. And I think that if you sell metal, and I don't even sell metal, but if you sell metal or want to have a good understanding of what is expected, there is this stainless steel surfaces, and there is an aluminum surfaces. And afterwards, if you want, we can put these up on the on the information, right, Jim? We can
We
use that
can,
information up.
yeah, we'll send out a follow-up
These-
email with everything and put that on there.
You would not believe the information that is in here. And in fact, I was reading that exact thing I was like, there's not any specific standard that actually has to be held. And I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, I know we have what we say we'll do, and I know it's commercially acceptable, but is there an actual, and I double checked, and according to this and according to everything I found, there's not. If I'm wrong, let me know. I am human, but no, we have ours. Everybody I haven't seen anybody's from two different places match. If you're getting from one place, everything they have should match. If they're doing their
Consistency,
measurements.
right? So it's place to place, but from source to source is different. It could be.
It can be, yeah.
Right, because there's no particular standard that says this is exactly what it has to be. Okay.
And because everything is a range.
Now, is that apply to all the RA
we
things?
talked about that before. So the range, so especially on polish or brush, if it's using sandpaper, which, as you all know, when you use sandpaper, after a few rounds, it gets lighter and the grit begins to diminish. So it's the first sheet that you do in a stack of 50 is not going to look like the 49th sheet. So as you go down, it's going to get less and less and less abrasive. The sandpaper is. And if the processor doesn't know when to stop and change to a different sandpaper, then if they're not checking that reading every third or fourth sheet, then they're not going to know, oh, this is, I mean, some can eyeball it, but they really should be checking it, that it's time to change it. We're going to be out of range. So that's where the inconsistencies really start to come in. It's because you have to know when to change the sandpaper. I'm just going to call it sandpaper. We're going to call it sandpaper. So we're going to know when to change it to be able to stay within the range that that's needed for a number 3 versus a number 4. Or we have some customers, we've done specialized finishes. And that's something that people need to realize. If you're working with an architect that wants something a little bit different, go to your processor and say, hey, is there a way for you to do a little bit smoother or a little bit rougher, or we kind of want this? Because if you can work on projects. We did the 9/11 museum. They wanted it to be a little bit this and a little bit that. Every other panel in there needed to be a different finish, but neither one of them were a number 3 or a number 4. They wanted it to be a different, and it took a long time and it wasn't cheap. But if you have those ideas and you want something that's completely different, bring it to your processor. Work with them, do some trials, do some samples, and see what they can come up with for you.
Great. So now that we've covered all that stuff, we've covered some finishes, we've covered the ways to polish, we've covered a little bit about the RA. Where's all this material end up? You just said the museum. Do you have any idea? I know you don't sell to those industries, but what do you have an idea of where they are at and what they do?
Well, that's kind of, you kind of said it. I don't always know, because in my unique situation as a toll processor, we don't know where the metal goes a lot of the time, as we're processing for a distributor that then sells to their customer, which we refer to as the end user, which may not even be the actual end user.
Fabricator, right.
But typically, so your number 1 HRAP is going to go into pipe, tube, flat bar, internals. Your 2B is food processing equipment, tanks, dryers, pharmaceutical, refrigeration. BA, truck trailers, road mirrors, hardware. Number 3, number 4 is going to be kitchen and brewery equipment, architectural applications, appliances. And then your number 3 and your number 8 is going to be ornamental applications. So it's going to be mirrors, it's going to be elevators, pie display cases like in cafes and bakeries, lots of truck bling. That's what we call it, truck bling. These semis want everything to just be so fancy and shiny. You think they're girls with all the diamonds, but they want everything to flash, and from bumpers to sun visors to everything in between. It used to all be chrome, now it's all mirrored metal. So, what you think is chrome on those trucks, a lot of times that is mirrored metal. So that's where a lot of it ends up. But we've done a lot of unique things. We did a lot for a lot of the handrails for the Cowboys Stadium. So things like that, and that's So polished pipe, people don't even think about polished pipe. Now we don't do round bar, but if it's hollow, pretty much if it's hollow, we're gonna be able to get some polishing done on it
Why does it have to be hollow?
because of our equipment.
Okay.
we have to be able to grab it from inside.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. That's what I was wondering, because it seemed to me like, okay, if you turn it, you can turn it somehow, but you have to grab it from the inside and do that.
It goes through something.
Makes sense. Okay. So do these mirrored finishes like that, do they show fingerprints real heavily, or are they got a texture that doesn't quite show them, or?
No, you're gonna see fingerprints. So I don't know. They're there.
So that's why you have to. That's why you see the truckers always cleaning them up, huh?
Yep, they're always cleaning them. I think they did it just so they can have something to do. They're gonna go there in between their drives, and they're just gonna wash and shine her all up.
Yeah. All right. So that's great information, and thank you for that. Now, you probably see a lot of stuff going on with this. There's probably a lot of issues. Can you tell us a little bit about the issues you see when you're polishing it, and then some of the things you might see as maybe rejections that somebody, the end user marketplace might, or your distributors might bring back to you?
Absolutely. So pits, laminations, the sheet not being flat, we cannot get it to go in the machine if it does not go flat. All those will cause issues to polish it. It doesn't matter how many passes you put on it, you're not going to polish out a pit. You're not going to polish out chatter or a coil break. However, if there is a scratch that is linear to the length of the sheet that you can't catch with your fingernail, we can hide that in the grain of a number 3. So if there's a scratch that's like going this, now if it's going this way, we're not going to be able to hide that. But if it's going this way, even water stains, that's more aluminum, but we can hide that in the grain of the brush. The rule of thumb is if you can catch it with your fingernail, that's going to be a reject. The not being flat, laminations, coil breaks, chatter, bad packaging, those are all reasons for, and I'll get in bad packaging in a minute, but those are all reasons for us to not be able to polish something. So you want to send over your best material to be polished or buffed.
Gotcha. I know a question came in from Kevin. It says those applications would be a handy list to have. Did you have I can't remember what applications you were talking about. I was going to try to remember that to put in a follow-up email, but is there something?
For the number 8?
I forget what, and maybe Kevin, if you could expound on that a little bit. Which list were you looking for? Another one came in.
Any list you need.
Yeah.
Just let us know what you're needing.
Yeah, we'll get back to him on that. And then
Sure.
Tom says, end users. He came back and just popped in there, end users.
Do I have a list of end users?
Truck body people,
I don't.
food processing.
I don't usually know who they are.
Right. Okay.
So we will only sell to distributors. If we have someone that comes to us and it's just like, oh, we usually go through insert distributor name here. We have found our own metal. No, we don't mess with that. That's messing with our customers. So we don't know who the end users are.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see. Tom asks. Let me see if I can.